Hey, the Outdoor Bound here. I want to thank you for clicking on my channel, and if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and help me out by sharing the link on social media. Now this video is a little bit different than what I normally do. I figured it needed a little bit of explaining. This is the story of a buck that I named Double White Patch. Now the story of Double White Patch started for me around late September of 2018. I put out about 5 trail cameras throughout the year, and this is one of the first series of pictures I got of this buck. This is September 27th. Our season was set to open October the 1st. And Double White Patch is a typical 9-pointer with good mass. Here he is with a spike on October the 11th. And then I picked up a clip of video of him on November the 4th. I like to put my cameras on video mode at scrapes this time of year because you can pick up a lot of really unique footage of these bucks on the scrapes. He's working that preorbital gland on that limb, putting down some scent. And then he scrapes the ground, and then here you're going to see he rubs those tarsals together to put down a little more scent. Now Double White Patch is a 3-year-old 9-point, and I'd made up my mind that he wasn't one I was going to shoot. I had a couple other deer that I was looking for, and I'd already filled a tag with a buck I called the Waterhole buck that I made a video of. If you haven't seen it, you might want to watch it. And then this next clip is the first time I laid eyes on him, November 9th. I was in a ground blind. He came off the side of this hill, and this is really when I named him Double White Patch. It's the first time I realized he had that marking on his chest, and he had a big scar across his back there. Then he hits his scrape on November the 12th. Staying really busy marking his territory. The rut's about to kick in really hot and heavy, and he wants everybody to know he's around. Now he's working this scrape at 7:59 a.m. on the 14th. And then that evening I set up in a tree stand about 100 yards from that scrape. And we'd had a dust in the snow, and we had a front moving in. We were supposed to get another snow that night. And it had the deer moving. There were a lot of deer in and out of this cornfield feeding, including him. He's about 25 yards here, and this is the first time I had a shot at him. And it wouldn't have been a problem here. Of course, there's a little corn stalk in the way, but I believe I could have got around that. He worked in and out of this field. I don't know if a doe had been through here and laid down some scent, and that's what had him coming back and forth. Or the other thing I was wondering is if there was a bigger buck in the woods that kept bumping him and running him out. He'd go in the woods and come back out and walk around this cornfield. Spent the whole evening here. I got some beautiful footage of him. That's one thing I've learned with running the camera. You sure do get a lot of video if you're not shooting everything that moves. He worked this field hard, back and forth, and there he is again. He's about 200 yards there. I'm shooting that Raven R10, and most of these shots are a chip shot. Here he is about 25 yards again. And I decided I just was not going to shoot him, no matter how many presentations he made to me. I wasn't going to do it. Now this next trail cam clip is about 12 hours later, and it's at a scrape within 100 yards of where I had last encountered him. And then 15 hours later, here he is at the same scrape again. This is November 16th at a different scrape. This scrape is probably 80 yards from the last one you saw him at. So he's really staying in the same general area. And then I set up on the ground one evening in a little cover, and he came out right by me, November 19th. And this is one reason they tell you never to judge a deer from behind, because he really looks a lot better from behind. He's got his hair all roughed up. I think he was mad, and I kind of think he knew I was there. I went into this little piece of cover by a big oak tree out in the middle of a field and sat down, and I think what it was is I was sitting in a place that he liked to bed. You'll see after he leaves the field, he takes a glance back over at me, almost like he's looking right at me. Then here he is, November the 28th. I'd moved the camera to a new location and another scrape, but this is quite a ways from where I'd been seeing him. And he made several appearances at this scrape. I was hoping I could pick up the one I was after here, but I never did. And I never did get a chance to shoot the buck that I was after. So my tag went unfilled, and I just kept getting video of Double White Patch. Here he is, December the 13th, working the scrape. I think he knows my camera's there. I would imagine he got a little bit used to my scent. He was all around it all year long. So the 2018 season ended, and Double White Patch managed to antagonize me all year long, and I never was able to catch up with the buck that I was after. But 2019 rolled around, and I put my cameras out again to see what I could get, and look what we got here. So August 24th of 2019, he shows up at one of my cameras. He's on a well-used trail, and he's in the velvet, and he's got a little better rack than he had the year before. Like I said, I put out about 5 cameras, and he was one of the better bucks that I had this season, and he was going to be a target buck. I figured if I could get him on camera, on video, I'd take a shot at him. Here he is at a scrape on November the 9th, and then passing a scrape on November the 13th. 2 days later, and here he is 20 yards from my tree stand. I'm running the camera, and you can see my shadow there, and I've got my crossbow cradled in my arm and running the camera with my right hand, holding the crossbow with my left hand, and he's figured me out. And I really can't move from the camera to the crossbow without being detected. And I've got about 4 does underneath me and behind me, and they've got their eye on me, and I know if I make one wrong move, everything's going to run out of there. But as you can see, he ends up getting directly under me. So I couldn't get it done that day, but 3 days later, it was a different story. I'd relocated the stand by about 20 yards, and I'm right in the same area. And I'm going to show you that hunt as it happened. You're not going to believe what I just did. Got in here early this morning, and you've seen some of the deer that have come by. And I looked out here at 9:30, and coming across the field is a beautiful buck, and I'm pretty sure it's a double white patch that I videoed a couple days ago right over there. I'd moved the tree stand from 20 yards over there over to this fence line, keep the sun out of my eyes, and I figured I'd have a better angle after things didn't work out the other day. Anyway, he's coming across this field, and I got beautiful video of him on the viewfinder, and I'm looking at him, I'm watching him, and he gets all the way to the edge, and he's really not going to stop. He's just on a really good pace walking. And I got him full frame, and I had to do that 3 times to really get him to stop. He turned and looked at me just as pretty as could be, and I judged the yardage, put my crossbow up on him, and touched it off. I could see blood just pouring out of him when he turned and went through the fence line. Perfect hit. Looked back up at my camera, and I'd forgot to hit the red button. I wasn't recording. Unbelievable. But it happens, and if you decide you're going to video yourself, you might as well get used to it. Things are going to go wrong. Well, there he is. The deer I call double white patch. Has a beautiful cape on him, beautiful colors. Even his ears are all white. And a 9-pointer. It's got a little extra going on the main beam right there, but he's a typical 9. And got him right behind the shoulder, Rage hypodermic, and a Raven R10. I stepped it off. He went about 35. He was 35 yards when I shot him, and he ran about 90. And wasn't any trouble tracking him. I just wish I would have got more of it on video for everybody to see. But mistakes happen. It's a tough deal trying to video yourself. I'm happy to get him.